I'm Shahar Azani, and welcome to this JBS special, Eye on Israel, from Israel. We are here at the Ben & Jerry's factory in Israel, as we were last year. Only this mission is somewhat different. We came to see Avi Zinger, the mythological CEO of Ben & Jerry's here in Israel, come and check up on him after a year-long battle against the BDS movement, a battle that became a great success story against the BDS movement. Avi, how are you?
Much better.
Much better. It's good to see you. It's been a tough year.
Very tough year. But happy ending.
Happy ending. Tell us a little bit about, the battle started. The board of Ben & Jerry's announces they want to sever ties with Israel. It created a whole whirlwind with you, with your business. How was the last year? Tell us a little bit about the difficulties, the obstacles. What did you fear about the most?
My most fear was to lose the business. Me and my 170 employees, thousands of people that are supporting this factory, if it's farmers from the dairies and on. This was my biggest fear. And this was a very difficult year because, number one, we were all, have this, unknown future. I was focused like 24/7 on managing this fight, which became something global, actually. It's not something that I'm used to. I'm an ice cream manufacturer. This is what I do for so many years. I'm focusing on making the best ice cream, focusing on the Ben & Jerry's principle to bring back to the community. Especially, we were focusing on coexistence project. And now, all over the sudden, I found myself fighting against Ben & Jerry's, which is like in my guts, It's like, this is what I did, this is what I believe, that such a great company, such a great narrative to do good on every aspect of the company, if it's the ingredients, if it's the suppliers, if it's the employees, and all of a sudden, I'm like finding that they just wanted to throw me under the bus here without any really reason. Because every time I had any interaction with them, any meetings, they always praised me that I'm doing the best.
Right, they were very proud of you over the years.
Very proud, very friendly, actually on a personal level, and that's altogether
a great feeling of betrayal.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to a sentence you just said, because it's very important for our viewers to understand this. A lot of times people look at the boycott movement as this Hasbara issue, public diplomacy. It's all about statements and tweets and viral videos. But what you're telling us here, Avi, is it's all about the people. There are people at stake here. You are very concerned about your staff, your employees, your workers, those who are part of this great operation of great pride here in the south of Israel. What was their feeling throughout the crisis? Did you sense any tension with your employees, the factory workers, the people who you engaged with? Were they concerned?
Of course. I mean, people here, they have families, they have mortgages, they have to feed their families. And now, everybody trusted me, everybody believed that at least they hope that I'll find a way for us to go on. But, this became such a big thing. It's like a principal fight against us. Not because who we are or what we do, because what we represent. And the BDS kept coming out and saying, this is our biggest victory ever. So how can we win such a thing? I mean, and it's against Unilever, and it's against Ben and Jerry's, and it's against the rest of the world. I mean, it's like it looks to them like we are losing here. Thank all the people, thank God, and all the people around us. Meaning around us. When I say around us, it's not only the Israeli; it's mostly the Jewish organization, the pro-Israelis organization, the Israeli government, that realized that this is something that we have to stop, we have to fight against. It wasn't something that you can let it go, because the BDS started to go to other companies saying, look at Unilever. If they're giving up such a big company, then you should also consider stop doing business in Israel. And every global company and every local company in Israel are actually doing business in the West Bank, in Judea and Samaria,
because it's part and parcel of our everyday lives. Our lives are intertwined in so many ways.
First of all, there's no reason to punish anybody, to boycott anybody. It doesn't matter if he's a Jew or if he's a Muslim, if he's a Palestinian or if he's Israeli. Actually, by not selling in the West Bank, you punish more Palestinians than you punish Israelis. So if this goes through, then every other company is a target to the BDS.
So this was so much more than you were at the epicenter of a storm. This was so much more than just your factory here in Israel. This was actually all about the global battle of what the BDS movement could do to the Israeli market with many other companies who work in Israel. And all of this, including the livelihoods of so many people here, on your shoulders, Avi.
Unfortunately, this is not what I was planning.
Right.
But unfortunately, the fact didn't matter. It doesn't matter now that I'm just a local guy here manufacturing ice cream. I became like the main target, the front of this battle.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. It doesn't matter that I'm not part of it, my narratives, my focus. It didn't matter, because it was out of my control. People took advantage, on Ben & Jerry's, with Ben & Jerry's, to try to get this victory for the BDS.
Right.
Ben & Jerry's became a tool, I became a tool, everything here, this whole battle became something that...
You became pawns in this game.
Exactly. And it's a big deal, was a big deal for me to be involved in all of this, to manage to stand against all of this, and thank God we have an happy ending that Unilever actually realized that this is out of control, that this has nothing to do with where they want to achieve. Unilever has a major investment in Israel. Unilever has, I think, more than 2,000 employees in Israel for decades. And now they came out like they are against Israel. They are against the Jewish community. And they never wanted to be there. And they had the guts to come and say, enough is enough. We have to find a way to finish it.
And to do the right thing.
And to do the right thing.
We spoke about, the concern of your employees, and also for you as a businessman who looks at the operation and, in a matter of months, as one terrible potential outcome, you might have been forced to close down shop and get ready and just to rehabilitate yourself with all of this. I want to ask you, what did you feel were the reactions from other corners of the world? When the boycott was announced last year, what kind of response did you receive from Jewish organizations, from Israelis, from the government? What was the sentiment that you felt from there?
So the nice thing, the unique thing about this crisis is that I think almost 95% of the people here in Israel, the government, the Jewish organization, were united to fight it, to support me. Knesset members from all across the political spectrum signed a letter,
right.
A petition letter to Unilever's CEO. So
right. In a time of great political division in Israel,
exactly.
almost all, I don't remember such a majority in the last few years, but they all rallied around you. Left, right, center.
So, people are saying that Israel is so divided. Right. The Jewish world in the US is so divided. This case showed that it's not exactly right, because everybody was united, even in the US. It doesn't matter if you are conservative or reform or not religious, everybody stick together on this. If you look at all the organizations that stood behind me, it's across the board. You cannot say, okay, it's only in this sector. Everybody were fighting it, everybody were supporting me one way or the other. Because this, to see such an
travesty of justice,
injustice done, forget the fact that we are just ice cream makers here in the South. And they forget the fact that ice cream has nothing to do with politics. I mean, if you get politics involved with ice cream, so where does it end? Right. So people say, this is already too much. It doesn't matter if we support the Israeli government, it doesn't matter if we support the policy here, but this is something that we cannot agree to. And that's it. This is how everything came together.
I can tell you I'm very proud of, JBS and our ability to come here last year and spread the word. And of course, you have our support and so many others who reacted to that show. But at the same time, one of your major partners in the US has been the Brandeis Center.
Yeah.
What have you been doing all year?
Look, I had many calls to represent me, to support me. But I, somehow connected with the Brandeis Center.
Right.
And it's not only the Brandeis Center, it's a team that came together to help me. It's Eliza Lewin, Nat Lewin, Mark Zell. They were the leading force here. And actually, for a year now, they were investing in this case thousands and thousands of hours. Time is no object, day and night, to build up the lawsuit, injection, to support me on all, level of all fronts. And even now, even today,
But that's how you move forward with the New Jersey lawsuit.
Yeah.
And working with the various states in the US to act against Unilever as the parent company of Ben & Jerry's.
I mean, there are many organizations. There are many beautiful people that I got to know.
That's the best time of the Jewish people, right? As we come together around ourselves and helping out such a great cause.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we do.
We all need some crisis to get together, to show that, the bright side of us. But I'm telling you, there were people that were investing money, investing their time, flying to Washington to meet Congress people and, parliament member. I mean, it's amazing.
The Jewish world understood what's at stake here. You, at the end of the day, cared a lot about your people and their livelihoods and the business operation, because like we say, it's all about, the actual daily lives of people bringing home food on the table. But at the same time, you felt there was a rallying of the forces from the direction of the Jewish world who understood, and a lot of people who cared a lot about you.
Yeah.
It's also important for me to mention, both here in Israel, but also abroad. When you visit Israel, you can have Ben & Jerry's. It's Israeli. It's here. It's manufactured here. There is no reason to boycott Ben & Jerry's in Israel, because in Israel, Ben & Jerry's is Avi Zinger. Now, if you want to protest Ben & Jerry's board decision, then that's, of course, in the United States and elsewhere. But when it comes to Israel and the Palestinian territories, it's you.
So first of all, I'm against any boycott.
For sure.
I don't want.
For sure, that's not our way.
I'm not supporting boycott. You know, there are other ways to protest. And yes, you know, in Israel, the ice cream is, the milk is Chalav Israel. Right. The ice cream is, you know, made in Israel. It's different, and definitely, I'm hoping and expecting people to support us.
And I'll just tell everyone, you know, Ben & Jerry's tastes so much better here, just so that you know that. But at the same time, there is an element of confusion here. People got confused in all of this. That also kind of hurt the business. There's
a major, major confusion. Even till now, after everything, people are still confused. They think we are the bad guys. Some, not they.
Right.
Some people still think that we are against Israel. We are boycotting Israel. We are supporting, you know, the BDS. There's a major confusion. Because it's complicated. It's not easy.
It is.
And not everybody can follow, you know, what's happening here.
So just maybe you can take a minute to explain to us what is the current situation. So Unilever did the right thing.
Yes.
And now what's the status now? Your legal status, Ben & Jerry's Israel? Just so that we understand what is this happy ending.
No, so what Unilever did in order to solve this situation, they sold me the rights to do Ben & Jerry's, to manufacture and distribute Ben & Jerry's, all parts of Israel, keeping the same ingredients, keeping the same quality of everything is the same. Social mission and on. In Israel, you know, we will change we are already in a process of changing the logo from English to Hebrew. As a local company, doing some changes in the, you know, in the packaging, and move forward, starting fresh, you know, with our local cream, same ingredients, same quality.
Right.
But we are independent. We always were like independent licensee.
Right.
Paying royalties and under the supervision. Now we keep the same thing, but independent. By the way, as far as royalties, you know, when this started, many people that understood say, Avi, we understand that we have to support you, but buying your product, actually we paying money to Vermont through the royalties. And I promised them, I'm not going to pay royalties, and I kept my promise.
Right.
So from the beginning of the crisis, and now on for the future, everything that people are buying here, it stays here. It doesn't go royalties to anybody. So people have to understand, because I still see people are writing to us. Okay, now we understand that you're independent, but no matter what, when we buy your product, part of it goes to Vermont. So no, this is very important to people understand. We are independent, we are local, the product is exactly the same quality, same ingredients, nothing changed. We're going to continue with new flavors, same quality, but it's local. It's ours. We are here to stay. We can sell, and we will sell. We never stop, by the way.
Right.
All over.
And that's for Israel and the Palestinian Authority.
Israel and the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, wherever we decide we want to sell, and we want to sell to everybody, we will sell. No limitation whatsoever, no discrimination whatsoever. We sell to Palestinians, we sell to Israelis, to Jews, to Muslims, to Christians.
In the heat of the Middle East, especially in this month of July, ice cream unites all.
Ice cream should always be positive and unite everybody.
Right. You know, one of the things that was mentioned in the course of the battle was your reputation as somebody who is heavily involved in the community in a supportive way, both within Israeli society and building bridges of coexistence between Israelis and Palestinians. You've done so for years. Like you mentioned, Ben & Jerry's themselves from the US were very proud of your work. How has this work that you've been involved with for so many years been affected by Ben & Jerry's move in the US?
You know, on top of the confusion, and because of the confusion, I mean, the project that I was involved with...
Coexistence project.
Coexistence project, of course. Just, I had to stop them. Because of the confusion, so the management of the project came and said, Avi, listen, we cannot continue. It doesn't matter that the Palestinian kids and the Israeli kids that were involved together in the same project are the one that suffers. But this was the outcome, that I had to stop in my involvement, my support to those projects.
Nothing demonstrates more the negative effects of the boycott movement than what Avi is just telling us here, that actual projects on the ground to promote coexistence, that connection had to be severed. Connection that benefited children had to be severed as a result of this. This makes me so angry, Avi.
So I just tell you, in the past, I was trying to source ingredients from Palestinians in order to support them, in order to show that there is a way to coexist.
Right.
If I buy dates, if I buy figs, if I buy almonds from Palestinians and use it in my ice cream, I mean, this is it. This is the maximum I can do as an ice cream maker to support.
Right.
To support the coexistence. As soon as it came out, it was surfaced in the radar of the BDS, they started to put pressure on the suppliers, on the manufacturer. Because anything that they can do against normalization between Israelis and Palestinians, they will fight it and they will stop it. And this is what they did. So no matter what you try to do to help the coexistence, they will destroy it right away.
This is such an important lesson of what you're teaching us here today, Avi, because so many people get confused thinking that by supporting the boycott movement, they support peace and coexistence. And we say, lehefech, to the contrary. The BDS movement seeks to undermine normalization and peace between the peoples in the region. It seeks only one thing, and that's the destruction of the state of Israel and the suffocation of Israeli businesses and Israeli existence in the region. Because if they truly cared about building peace in the region, they would support Ben & Jerry's Israel rather than undermine it. It literally baffles me to think that Ben & Jerry's in the US, who pride themselves on doing the right thing, could go so wrong on this issue to such a magnanimous level. It baffles me.
Yeah, I feel sorry for that, and it's a shame that, I mean, this is what it's all about, what we are doing here. Supporting the coexistence, supporting the community, doing the best product we can, with the best ingredients we can, and then we became, I mean, the target.
Right. What is your message to our viewers, to anybody who watches this interview in the US and around the world? What do you want to tell them? I know already what I want to tell them is you really have to come and visit. You know, buy Ben & Jerry's in Israel, taste Ben & Jerry's in Israel, express your support, because it's truly the essence of doing good. If this is what you seek, to do good and to do the right thing, follow in Unilever's path to do the right thing when it comes to Ben & Jerry's in Israel. What's your message, Avi?
First of all, I want to thank all those, I don't know how many, hundreds, thousands people that were cared about me and my employees, helped me, especially, of course, I mentioned already, the Brander Center, Eliza, Nat, and Mark. And let's hope that it's a lesson to everybody that is even thinking to go this way. Again, also to Unilever that had the guts to do the right thing. And as you just said, come to Israel and eat Ben & Jerry's and let's get the politics out of ice cream. And I want to focus back on what I do best. Ice cream,
Right.
with my employees, with this community around us. And let's hope that this is it. No more troubles.
The message of let's get politics out of ice cream, I love. I think this, and I can just whisper quietly, because I know this is not yet for publication, that walking through the hallways of Ben & Jerry's here in Israel, there is a significant buzz going on, and things are cooking behind the scenes that we should really pay attention to and expect much more to come in the next few months. So stay tuned, as we say, and I'd like to thank you, Avi, again, and express our support to you and to all of your employees and the great family of Ben & Jerry's in Israel. What you have done is a great thing, not just for you and for Ben & Jerry's Israel, but I think for the battle for what's right and what's just. So thank you for all of your efforts and hard work. I know this has been a tough year.
Thank you. As long as there is an happy and sweet ending, I'm happy.
So there is a lot of sweetness to expect. I'd like to thank all of you, our viewers, for joining us for this special Eye on Israel from Israel, and this time in the south of Israel at the Ben & Jerry's factory. I want to thank you all for your support and looking forward to seeing you as we cast another fascinating Eye on Israel. It's been a great pleasure, and see you soon.
Thank you.
We would be pleased to send a complimentary DVD of this program to anyone who wishes to support JBS with a tax-deductible gift of $36, double chai or more. Simply visit the JBS website at jbstv.org and click on the Donate button to make a donation by PayPal or your credit card. And please indicate the program for which you would like a DVD. Or you can send your tax-deductible check to JBS, Post Office Box 360, Stamford, Connecticut 06904. Or you can call the JBS Pledge Line at 833-MY-JBS-TV. That's 833-695-2788. And again, please remember to indicate which program you would like to receive with our compliments. We thank you for your kind support.